Hi everyone, my name is Frances, and here you can see me sitting at the feature table of Berkeley and Stanford's poker tournament, which happened just this previous weekend. I thought it'd be cool for me to show you guys a few hands that I played here, so feel free to stick around. In the first interesting hand, unfortunately the stream didn't work for this one, but we have 3 limps and then the button squeezes to 60. We're playing 5-10 at this point. I'm looking down at an absolute premium in the small blind, so I 3-bet to 150 and the button makes the call. So we go heads up to a flop out of position here, which comes 7-7 queen. It's actually a really good flop for me. He doesn't have many 7s other than flop quads in his range, and I have all the queens, ace, queen, kings, and aces to my range. I check here. I'm expecting him to check back almost 100% of the time for those aforementioned reasons. So I am extremely surprised when he actually chooses to bet out here for 75, which is about a fourth of the pot. So I'm not really sure what he's repping here. Even if he miraculously has a 7, I think he'd actually check, waiting for me to bet later streets. Same thing with queens. So I think this is more of a probe trying to see where he's at with some amount of showdown, which is better than mine. So I'm going to tell him exactly where he's at. I'm going to check raise to 200. This really just puts pressure on everything that is not ace, queen, or queens. And so he has to fold pretty much everything else, which he does here. Welcome back to part 2, where the tournament blinds have increased to 25-50. In the last hand, playing AK out of position and whiffing the flop was a little bit difficult, so instead I decide to play pocket aces in position. I open to 125 from the cutoff, and only the big blind decides to tag along. We go heads up to a flop here, which comes 7-3-7. Big blind decides to check, and although I think I have the best hand with pocket aces, I think it makes more sense for me to check back here. Technically, this flop does favor his range a little more than mine. He could have 6-7, 7-8 suited, or pocket 3s for a flop boat, whereas I am pretty much capped to a single pair type of holding. And also for my specific hand, I think almost all of the time I am either way ahead or way behind. So I don't really think betting accomplishes too much other than folding out his weak hands. The turn is the 5 of spades, and when the big blind checks again, I decide to lead for about half pot. If he's chopping with a 7 or pocket 3s, congrats, just take my money, but I will not be checking back aces for a second time. I'm targeting a turn flush draw, a pair of 5s, pocket 4s, pocket 6s, so I'm very happy to see him making this call. The river is the ace of clubs, which gives us the top full house, but when he checks, I know that he definitely doesn't have a 7 or a lower boat than mine, so instead I think about what the maximum a pair of 5s or pocket 6s would call, and settle for about half the size of the pot. I'm expecting to get folds most of the time, or tank calls a small fraction of the time, considering that a lot of my bluffs on the turn consist of ace X, but instead I pretty much get snap called here, which is pretty interesting, and we win a pretty big pot with aces. For this very last hand, the blinds have increased to 30-60, and I open pocket jacks from under the gun to 125. It folds around to the big blind, who, after taking a quick look at his stack and my stack, decides to hell with it, he is all in. Obviously, you guys can see from the graphics that seat 4 has me absolutely crushed here, but in the moment I actually decide to stick in the call within a few seconds, and my thought process was that he would almost never do this with top of range. So I'm not expecting to be up against aces or kings here all that often. Really, the best hand he could have is pocket queens, whereas I would be ahead of so many other hands he could be doing this with. For example, ace king, ace queen, ace X suited, pocket 10s, and pocket 9s. I put in the chips and he shows me the bad news right away. This is the worst case scenario for me and the best case scenario for him, considering he was only ahead of ace king and pocket jacks in my calling range. Even my suits are dominated, so we have to hit a set. Let's see if we get lucky. Nope, we lose. Nice hand to seat 4, he gets the absolute max. Definitely a bit of a brutal caller. It's unfortunate to have the right analysis but just run into it, but I guess that's just part of the game, and I'm glad I wasn't completely stacked here and there's nothing else to do other than try my best in day 2. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the love and support. It's been very surprising actually, but I'm glad to know that these videos are entertaining. Bye everyone!